Breeds of livestock. Breed is important in livestock because it helps create predictability in reproduction. A breed is a group of domestic animals that have a similar appearance, behavior, and other characteristics that distinguish it from animals in the same species. When bred together, the breed passes those uniform traits to their offspring. Purebred animals have a known ancestry that is established by a pedigree. A pedigree shows that the animal has been produced from a pure line of the breed because all mating has been recorded in a written registry. Many types of purebred livestock are listed in breed registries that track bloodlines. In cattle, pedigreed stock is called full blood, and every ancestor registered in a herd book shows typical characteristics of the breed. Livestock producers value the contribution of purebred genetic stock because of the consistency it provides in producing desired traits in a herd. Animal breeding is, by definition, the science of using the principles of genetics to make improvement in a livestock species. Animal scientists and breeders have long studied breeding populations to understand how different traits are expressed. Remember that the way an organism looks and behaves is its phenotype. The actual allele combination that creates these looks and behavior is its genotype. So phenotype is physical appearance, and genotype is genetic makeup. Breeders and producers select male and female livestock with highly desirable, highly heritable traits that remain constant within the herd from one generation to the next. Purebred genetic stock allows producers to make improvements in the phenotype of other animals within the breed and in grade animals that may have an unclear pedigree. Breeds have been established as breeders have tried to improve reproductive capabilities, increase weaning weights, decrease fat percentage, or improve an animal in any other way for its intended purpose. For example, some cattle breeds have been selected for heavy muscling, while others have been selected for the ability to survive and raise a calf in harsher range conditions. New breeds are developed by crossing existing breeds in an attempt to combine desirable characteristics. Some relatively new cattle breeds are Santa Gertrudis, Brangus, and Cimbra. There are around 250 recognized breeds of beef cattle in the world, of which about 80 are available to the U.S. cattle industry. Popular breeds of beef cattle include the Angus, Hereford, and Limousin breeds. There are 6 major dairy breeds used in the United States, including the Jersey and Guernsey breeds. The Holstein is the dominant dairy breed. It has the largest frame and the greatest average milk production. The U.S. also registers many different swine breeds. 75% of all breed registrations for swine are Yorkshire, Duroc, or Hampshire breeds. For many years in the United States, the Yorkshire was bred for bacon production, the Duroc for lard production, and the Hampshire was an intermediate bred for both lard and bacon. These practices began to be phased out in the 1950s, since lard has gradually been replaced by vegetable oils and consumer demand has shifted toward leaner cuts of meat. In poultry production, the term purebred is not used. Instead, the American Standard of Perfection provides poultry breeders with a uniform set of standards for size, shape, color, and physical features to breed toward. Although most of the 350 breeds and varieties of birds identified in the standard are exhibition or fancy poultry, the genetic bases for meat and egg-producing strains are also depicted in the standard. Breeds are used to produce varieties, and varieties are used to produce strains or lines. You won't find a particular breed of chicken in a commercial facility. Over time, strains of poultry have totally replaced breeds in commercial production. Strains produced from the single-comb white leghorn breed are the most widely used for egg production. Broiler chicken strains mainly come from the New Hampshire and White Plymouth Rock breeds. Horses are one example of livestock not used for food purposes. Most horses are light horses, which are bred for light work, and for pleasurable activities like riding, racing, and exhibition. Draft horses are the tallest, heaviest, and strongest group of horses, and are bred for both exhibition and work. And now, let's explore the core. Draft breeds have been an important source of power since the earliest times. Even today, in developing countries in Asia, Africa, and South America, about 85% of power used in crop production comes from draft animals. The term horsepower was coined by an 18th century Scottish engineer named James Watt. Watt designed steam engines, and he needed a way to compare the power capabilities of his steam engines to the power capabilities of draft horses that were commonly used at the time. Watt measured how much work a draft horse could perform for a given amount of time. He discovered that an average draft horse could steadily exert a 150-pound force by turning a mill wheel 144 times, or 13,200 feet every hour. In order to come up with horsepower, Watt was looking for how many foot-pounds of work were done by the horse. So how did he calculate horsepower? Remember that work equals force times distance. If the horse steadily exerted a 150-pound force by turning a mill wheel 13,200 feet every hour, then the work it did is equal to 150 pounds times 13,200 feet. So the horse did 1,980,000 foot-pounds of work. Power is different from work. The horse could walk to turn the mill wheel 144 times, or he could run. If he ran, he would generate more power. Power measures the amount of work done over time, with time expressed in seconds. Watt calculated the amount of power the horse generated by plugging in his numbers to solve for P. The horse worked for an hour, so Watt got his time by calculating that there are 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. Watt defined this rate, 550 foot-pounds per second, as 1 horsepower, and we still use it today. In the English system, power is measured in horsepower or foot-pounds per second. However, the equivalent SI unit for power is the watt. A watt is equal to 1 joule per second, or 1 Newton meter per second. Watts were named in honor of James Watt. Today's SAT word is heritable. If something is heritable, then it is capable of being inherited. In the lesson, we learned that breeders and producers select livestock with highly heritable traits, or those that will most likely be inherited by the next generation.